look
like
for
you
the live
said, it might
request.
have the feedback. All right, so I think we're live. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my personal, just in case, because I don't mind a backup. And we'll dive in because I'm excited to talk to you. It's been a
Yay!
while. How you been?
Yes. I've been good. I've been good just hanging in, trying to find the new groove.
Yeah, the new groove, exactly. Because it's such an interesting time. Like this year has been interesting to say the least. I think between the economy, between what's going on politically too, like the Fearless Fund, they just announced their recent update with
Yeah,
the case that had been going on. And it's always something. It seems to always just be something. But we just got to keep pushing, I think is the only way. I mean, generation after generation has had its its battle to fight. You know, it's
right,
had its battle to fight, and we're I think a surprise. I mean, 2020 was something that was pretty unexpected for everybody, and I think it turned the world upside down and really made us realize the value of small businesses and that we keep things
right,
going.
right.
So, it's just been an interesting time to see how we play with this and how we make the most of it. But I'm excited to chat with you about your journey and how it's been going. I know that you are such an expert on so many things. I have questions that I know a lot of founders will benefit from, including myself. So we're just gonna dive in. So first, tell us about you and your businesses.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Candace Parrish. Some people call me Dr. P. Some people just call me Candace. I am first and foremost the founder of Odelia Marie and Patrice, which is an activism forward luxury self care company. And then I have some other endeavors. We all have, like, as entrepreneurs, business that keeps the lights on. So I have a PR
Yeah.
consultancy that keeps me grounded while and helps me fuel that passion work with OM&P. Um,
Mm.
I'm in the northeastern part of North Carolina, and I've been working to get rooted in the state. My family is largely from North Carolina, but I've lived
Mhm.
elsewhere most of my life.
Oh.
And so that's been a great opportunity to, like, come back to this place and then try to reinvigorate a space for and cultivate a space for beauty activism, and beauty education.
I love that. Beauty activism and education. And I want to make sure that we can see you on the IG live too. So I don't know if you have the ability to request to join on that one,
Yes,
but if
I saw
so,
it, but I didn't know if it would throw it. Let me see.
I don't know. We'll see.
All
But
right,
it's
I'll
okay
try.
if not. We'll see if it sends me like a little note. That's the one from Namaste. But I've got folks in North Carolina, and I just recently did got a chance to do a pitch there, which was so fun.
Oh, where
So
was
I
it?
Yeah, check out Women of Color Connecting. They're such an amazing organization. Oh, let me turn this down.
I turned my volume down.
And yeah, I'm like, let me just turn it down. Hopefully they can hear me. If not, it's okay. We're on Bees by Skincare too. But yeah, I we did Women of Color Connecting, and it was kind of like a road show where they go city to city and they do these different pitch events. And that was just so much fun. Like, and you're not necessarily pitching for funding immediately, but they do have like an angel group that you can pitch with at some point down the road if it's a good fit.
Okay.
So I highly recommend that.
Okay.
Okay,
Good to
let
know.
me see. Hey y'all. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cancel my personal one because I just think it's doing like a little echo thing. Is that okay?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we'll stick with the beats value one because I don't want it to do any echoing. All right, cool.
Right.
That way I want to focus. We only got 30 minutes. So far with your businesses, what's been the highest high and the lowest low?
I think the highest high has been being able to be in the circles, right? New voices and some of the fearless fun, some of the other accelerators
Mhm.
where I can meet peers.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we met. You and Brianna
Yeah.
met through New Voices. I eventually joined you all in the family. And I think all of those connections have been like what's held me up during, you know what I mean? Like the ups and downs of it
Yeah.
all. Across, like beyond any of the accolades or anything, you know what I mean, that like could have been obtained.
Totally
I
understand.
think those connections have been the high, because it's great to have people in your field who get it, who
Mhm.
are moving and shaking, who can re-inspire you when you don't feel inspired, XYZ.
Yeah.
um and I think, and you said what was the lowest low?
Yeah.
The lowest low for me, I feel like there's been a few lows. One of which was this
Girl.
summer, and it really wasn't that like things, I don't know, it was just things weren't working out in my timing. You know how the summer starts and you have all of these things. I'm going to
Yeah.
get this production pace started. I'm going to do XYZ. I'm going to do XYZ. And just
Yeah.
things did not work out. Somebody smashed into the back of my car.
Oh my
And like,
God. I'm
yeah.
so sorry.
Then
Like
the
just like
production space took way longer to like paint and like get ready.
yeah.
So things didn't happen in the way that I thought they should, but
Yeah.
hindsight, looking back, I needed a break, which is ironic that I have a self-care company, right? But I'm like
Yeah.
not prioritizing my own self-care.
Yeah.
So this summer it was like a forced break, right? Like, what are
Yeah.
you going to do when you don't have your car and you live in the country? What are you going to do when your
Yeah.
production space, you like literally can't hide behind like making things all day? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I understand. I feel like this energy this summer for me was the same. More so last year, like last winter was kind of like the start of my forced slowdown, where it was
Mm,
like you have to, your body is telling you like you're doing too much, and
yeah.
you don't think you are because you're just like, I'm enjoying myself. I'm pushing, I'm showing up. At the end of the day, I'm
Right.
showing up,
Right.
but not realizing the accumulation of that energy of like
Right.
you're also not taking enough breaks. Like that's nice to keep driving, but you got to slow down in between,
Yeah.
take more time. So I've
Right.
been learning to embrace like the forced slowdowns, even though it's like I am a momentum girl. Like I like movement. Like
Yeah.
why are we like in traffic? I'm like,
Right.
why are we just sitting here? I need to move. Like
Right.
I like to be in the flow of things. So I can understand that completely, but it's good that your perspective is more positive in terms of like not seeing it as something that's going to just halt you or stop you completely, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's been that thing that's kept you from just giving up? Like is it mental, is it like a goal, is it family? Like what's that driver for you?
I think having a mission that's deeper than like your, like, vain aspirations will keep you rooted.
Yeah.
I know for me, Om and P is rooted in like family history, and so I have like a
Mhm.
history. My grandfather had a barber shop. My grandmother sold Avon. My great grandmother made soap. And I'm sure that as I continue to uncover, I will learn more.
Yeah.
But that's a whole, lineage of people who never got any sort of recognition in the self care space. Yet the
Yeah.
biggest companies in the space are white owned. And then also when I did more research and found out that, soap making and candle making, they were also functions of slavery. So
Mm. What did you learn
these
from, like,
rest,
tell us what you learned?
yeah, absolutely. So um, women in slavery, in the Carolinas and in the Northeast, it was documented that they were making candles. The candles were made from like the sweat from like whales. There's like a
Wow.
waxy material,
Uh-huh.
yeah, from sperm whales, and with the soap, they were made from oak ash and lye, and the lard, the fat like that was used in the saponification process was from like hogs or pigs. Uh,
Wow.
so if that process, you know what I mean, was like obviously soap was made like there's evidence of all the way in Africa with like Yoruba tribes,
Hmm.
trading soap for like spices. But if that was the case, then why are we locked out of the soap making? You know what I mean? Of all of
Right.
these industries that we are like at the root of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you talked earlier about being in North Carolina now and the activism in education, is that kind of where those pieces of the puzzle come together for you? Because North Carolina's got some history.
Yeah.
You know, is
It
that
does. Yeah, they do. So my grandfather's barbershop is actually still in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My family owns it. I think another barber is renting out the business. But so there's that, right? Like bringing it back to where it kind of started for my family. And then also, I taught at North Carolina Central University for my first academic appointment,
wow?
and that was really inspiring. And I always knew I would join back with them in some other way, even if I left academia. And
Hmm.
so I'm working on a collaboration with them for a to teach a course in beauty, sustainability, and communication. And I'm hoping that it'll be the first of burgeoning curriculum in the space. Right now, there's not that many avenues for young Black people who want to go into beauty and fashion and
Right.
all of that to even get like you graduate with a degree and then you have to learn a whole nother like
Right. It's a whole nother, I don't, yeah, like a whole nother part of, I kind of wish I had that. Like if I had that program, even if it was online, where I
right.
could, and I think Spelman just recently started something
Yeah, it
similar,
was like
but
a
it's not,
chemistry.
yeah, it's more exactly, it's more cosmetic chemistry based, I believe.
Yeah,
So what you're doing with bringing in the history and like you said, the communications, because that's all of a lot of the missing pieces of what we learn when we start DIY, when we start just doing it on our own. We're learning those pieces of the puzzle and pretty much putting ourselves in school. And that's what
right.
I've told that to investors, I've told that to other founders and friends and family. I'm in school. I'm in school. So
Yeah,
like don't expect me to necessarily get an A every time, but I am in
right,
school and I am this is something that once you have it for life. But it
right,
is a good foundation if you don't have it to do it and live it.
right,
There's a no to me no better teacher than experience or someone who has that experience. So
right.
you now have that experience, you know, and I think your education and the fact that you're already a educator, um, it's perfect. I could see you doing that and so much more. The start of so many of these programs across the US, you know.
Listen, that would be great. I'll be calling you.
I'm here. Listen, I'm learning so much now. Listen, give me another year and we'll see. What how have you felt so far in the DIY journey? Because I know both of us, I still make our face mist. I thankfully, I'll say thankfully, I guess, have a manufacturer to help me with our other products, but it's it's such a long process. There's so
Yeah,
many positives of being able to just make your products yourself and do your thing. And I know that there's so many other founders who are like us. They start DIY and that works great for them. It works great for
yeah.
their numbers, their their turnaround times. So how has that process been for you? Why did you want to even start that way?
I think I'm an artist. Like that's the core of me. So I think experimentation with the art and the craft of it all was
Mhm.
great initially, and then when you discover your deeper meaning and what you want to do, I knew that I wanted to build out the production side of it,
Mhm.
whereby then I could white label for other minority brands and brands in general, right,
Mhm.
who want truly sustainable, truly non toxic products. And I could
Mhm.
hinge on my background as a researcher, you know what I mean, to like
Yeah.
build all these aspects up. And one part of that is talking to a lot of the mentors in our space, and their businesses are like beyond like great, right?
Mhm.
But they've they kind of want me to give it up. They're like,
Really?
send the recipes to somebody else. Yeah, they're like, don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is that's a part of the back and forth that you'll get. You'll get a lot of different information, but what
Yeah.
is at your core? What was given to me was
Mhm.
the mission to create this facility, right?
Mhm.
And what that means is that I'm not going to have a rocket boost situation whereby like I, started and we blasted off and I got a whole bunch of cells and now we're in this other realm. If
Mhm.
I'm building a lifetime brand, then it might take 10 years, 15, 20. Wegmans, I just found out, is one of my favorite grocery stores.
Yeah.
I think it was first opened in like 19 something, 1912 or something.
Wow.
Like, right. So
Ooh,
if you think about,
longevity, to say the least.
right, if you think about that, then it's
Mhm.
kind of like, well, why are you trying to force the train to go faster
Mhm.
than it can? You know it will derail. And
Mhm.
if it derails, for me, that would be more devastating than just going slow.
Yeah.
So, and we see it now, like, and it's no shade to anybody, right? Like,
Yeah.
nobody can like predict the future or what happens, or
Yeah.
have control of these things. But some companies blast it up, and what it takes to maintain, like,
It's
when
a
the
lot.
economy shifts and people's perceptions shift,
Mm.
then it just becomes too much for you to manage.
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to kind of like avoid that, right? Stay true to my
Mhm.
mission, understand, okay, this might take longer. And
Mhm.
then if I know it might take longer, then that means that I need to find a greater balance in like the self-care of like it all. I
Mhm.
need to still live life. I need to get my
Yeah.
checkups. I need to make sure I get my oil changed.
Listen, life is still happening while you are building this business. And it's funny you said that. I had an advisor, what year are we in? 24. So this was last year. It's a blur. And I did this accelerator here locally, and I remember being in that headspace of like, it's not happening fast enough. Like, I need this, I need that. We have this to do, and we have all these things are true. There are
Right.
things to do. He was like, take a breath. How long do you plan on doing this? And I'm like, well, I could do this for as long as it takes. He's like, exactly. So you're going to be here. And it just reminded me that like I look at companies that have and there are so few in the black beauty space as it is. There are many who have exited and or been acquired and or partnered up with people. We just don't always hear about it. But the few that I know have done that, even from older brands, um it still took them a lot of time to build up like that brand awareness and that loyalty with customers. And I know now it's kind of like a I guess like a catch 22, because you want to grow fast enough to not be left behind, and like you want to
Mhm.
grow fast enough to build that awareness and to make sure people know that you're in the space, but you also don't want to grow so fast that, like you said, you derail because it's
Mhm.
so things outside of your control start to happen,
Mhm.
and you're left with like, okay, who's going to help float this? Because
Right.
there's only so much I can come out of pocket to keep it going. There's only so much investors these days want to invest in us to keep it going. Um, so you do have to be kind of mindful. So I was, when I thought about it that way, even looking back to the slowdowns that I had last year that I did not expect, being hacked. We got
Mhm.
hacked. We had to start our YouTube all over because they wanted to claim that we were scamming. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm just posting videos and doing outreach, like they're educational videos. So a
Right.
lot of things that you just don't expect to happen start happening. And so
Right.
having that solid foundation, I think, is awesome. And because you, like you said, you're building out that production side, you have other chemists, other businesses, other
Mhm.
founders as customers too, not
Right.
just your direct to consumer customers. So you've got that balance to keep you going. Um,
Right.
and that's so smart. B2B is something I am continuing to like go after. So we have those a diverse amount of accounts, you know.
Right.
It's
Right.
important. One of the things you talked about earlier is communication and how important that is in the
Mhm.
beauty and wellness space. So how does that play a role? How does the communication and the storytelling play a role in what the company that you're building, in the wellness company, your PR, obviously, but tell us a little bit more about how you see it.
It definitely plays a big role, especially now, in today's era. I remember when I first created Om and Peace. Well, not when I first created it. When we started to get a little traction, I think I got the Beyonce grant,
Mhm.
and people started to follow my Dr. Candace Parrish page, which I'm a very private person, but Dr. Candace Parrish page was for academic stuff. And then I
Yeah.
had a personal private account, which only has like 400 followers.
Uh-huh.
And then I started to realize, like, okay, people want to know more about you. So that's when I created
Mhm.
Chic and Vegan. I was like, okay, I need somewhere for people to see because they want to learn about like the company,
Yeah.
but we're in a time where people really want to know like what is the founder
Yeah.
like, what do they do, right?
What are you having for breakfast? I don't know, eggs. What are you having for breakfast? Like the same thing. Do
So
I have to post
honestly,
it? Do I have to post it? Okay, I guess I'll post it.
I need to do more, right? Which for the people who love like fostering community, they
Yeah.
do really good. Like your Pinky Coles, they do
Yes.
so
Oh
good.
my God.
I
Yeah.
love fostering community, but I like to be behind the scenes.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
want to be.
Yeah. That's that PR expert right there. She's like, y'all need to see me. Y'all hear the story. I didn't put it in
Right.
writing.
But as uh someone once said, like, if you don't have, like, as a founder, if you don't have the extreme amount of money, then you have to be the face of your brand. So
Yeah.
communication plays a big role in that. I try to, develop different like content mixes. We've been a little silent while I've been kind of on a on uncanny break, but
Hmm.
um just breaking down the formulas, the story, the journey, the current activism, the mission for activism, all of that is very key, especially as you define your target audience and you learn like why are they here? What are the stories that they want to know about? You know what I mean?
Right.
What has connected them to the brand? So, I think if you have a bunch of money, then you can just place yourself somewhere. You can get on
True.
all the Sephora things, you know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
And at one point, it was kind of like that. Like, if we had, I mean, you guys were even like before me. If we had been maybe like a year or two before, we would be in a completely different scenario, like before
Yeah.
2020.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Likewise. I really do. Because even seeing, I'm telling you, and I tell you this, but we started late 2020, like August or so,
Hmm.
2020.
Hmm.
And it is month over month of like experimenting and growing, but it's like new. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is great. Yay, making money. Like I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
We got to our peak in like maybe month six or so, five probably or six. And then March happened and the whole marketing thing with Facebook, Instagram, Google, all of that just kind
Mhm.
of died or something.
Yeah.
And then the year after, I mean, no, that was that year. And then it was kind of that experimentation phase of like, let's learn and figure out what to do now on
Yeah.
top of what we were doing before that seemed to be working. Like, well, now we've got
Right.
to figure out what to do.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's been interesting to see like how things have evolved in just this amount of time. So sometimes it's the one thing that also gives me even more hope for the future is like if things change that fast, they can change that fast again, but we
Right.
can push this in the right direction based on the things that we have already learned. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep that mindset, to stay in the
Yeah.
fight, just mentally
Yeah.
stay in the
I
fight.
will share like one thing to your point about how quickly things can change. I was disenchanted with my day job as a professor.
Yeah.
when I started OMP. And so it was great that it was gaining slow traction, but traction, and it was giving me a
Yeah.
hope that I could like transition. But for me it wasn't happening like soon enough, and I felt like, all right, we're growing and we're making more money monthly. I'm going to open a small like shop space, and I'm going to try to, my strategy was try to get connected locally where I was. You know what I mean? Like get
Yeah.
rooted in a community, like spearhead more growth, XYZ. And I really wasn't praying or listening. I was just so agitated with my job that I was like,
Mhm.
I'm going to throw everything I got into OMP,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna rock and roll there. So anyway,
Mhm.
I opened the studio space. I put a lot of money and effort into it. I opened it March 2021.
Wow.
Literally right when like inflation happened.
Wow.
I'm laughing now, but it was not funny then,
I get
okay?
it. I get it.
That means I didn't recoup on anything. Like credit
Mhm.
cards maxed out, everything,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Putting
And
everything you
so,
have, your savings, I put savings. Yeah, you put everything you have into the plan and the
yeah,
vision. Yeah.
yeah. So that was another FYI of like, it ain't gonna happen no quicker than it's
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah. So and that's another thing of like if I'm going to put and I think for a lot of us, because I know for me, like I kept doing real estate, but the market has slowly been dying, like just
Hmm.
slowly, every uh 6 months there's some new thing. There's either an interest rate change or now the economy is bad, so it's harder for people to, so it's kind of like it's there but it's not a reliable source. It's just
Right,
there. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I've got some clients to help, but that's the best that I can do. I can't
right,
force the world to change overnight. And
right,
so it's like, okay, how do you balance those responsibilities with your startup? And
right.
you're doing, I think, a fantastic job. A
Thank
fantastic,
you.
seriously. So tell us about some advice that you wish you had been given. Like if there was one thing that you wish someone would have told you, maybe earlier or sooner, what may that have been? Might that have been?
I the one thing that I wish somebody would have told me is that when you make more money, when you make more sales in your business, you need more money.
Mm,
So, I remember my first lesson with that. It was probably December 20, was it December 2020? Either December 2020 or December 2021, where we had like our big, like fall, December sales.
mm,
And I was flat broke. It was so miserable. I was
yeah.
like, I don't understand how we had our like biggest sales, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Biggest like revenue generation, and I am broke because I thought it was 1 + 1 = 2, but it's not. It's one
Yeah.
plus one equals 14. So
Yeah.
whenever you get more sales, then you need more money to order
Yeah.
more products.
Yes, marketing. Like you said, the communication and marketing and like getting your message out there. Like that in and of itself for every product. And that's how my brain thinks now. Like, and it's taken me this long to get there. Same thing, like I wish I would have known more. What I know now, I wish I would have known back in 2022, even when we got a grant from Avino, because it was like I didn't know about leveraging your cash and like and making sure you get more, so you have like this set aside just for inventory. Like that is
Right,
like a line of credit for just that. I would have
right,
done that immediately. You know what I mean? Instead of
right,
using cash to go and get inventory. And then
right.
I'm using cash for marketing. And then and I'm like, hold on. What happened to the,
The money is
yeah,
gone.
it's like I have the product, we're doing some marketing, but now I'm gonna have to balance. And then as you're growing your products, you're looking for maybe team or some folks to help you. And this isn't even like salary players. This is just, I need hourly people who can you just do this. Like, don't do no
Right,
more than that because I can't pay you anymore. You just do that. And maybe a virtual assistant, I'm gonna pay you just this,
right.
you just do that. And I'm doing everything else still. Plus, you're like you said, you're balancing everything else. And so I love that advice. It's like 1 + 1 = 14. Like for real. You're going to need way more than you think. You're gonna need more
Right.
time, you're gonna need more money, and you're gonna need more people.
Right.
Um, period. Like you're gonna need more.
Yeah.
Starting DIY, would you have started any other way?
No, I think that was the perfect way for me, given my background, right? Like,
Yeah.
as a researcher, then I can learn more about experimentation and formulation
Yeah.
for the desired products that I'm like trying to produce, which are low chemical, right, to no chemical
Mhm.
products.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't have started any other way, but it does mean that something that I would tell anyone who's starting DIY is that it's going to take longer, you
Yeah.
know, just because of the manpower, right?
Mhm.
It takes more for marketing when you're doing direct to consumer anyway. Like, those are all the things that you'll learn like as you go forward. Like, okay, it can be better to sometimes get in a store, right? Because you can like
Yeah.
leverage the marketing. But so I wouldn't have started any other way. I just would have preferred to have gotten a list of things.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I can totally understand that. Like the things that we put ourselves through, it's just so crazy. Um, it's so crazy how we somehow keep pushing and just make it. Like I don't know, we just make it. We make it through those hard times. Who's
Yeah.
kind of been? I know we're kind of getting to the wrap up, but I would love to know, like, what's been the most supportive for you, and how can the community continue to support you?
What has been the most supportive for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think staying in groups and accelerators. I think for me it was initially hard because it's like, oh, I've already done this many. Like, how many more? I'm tired of doing homework. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like these communities help. These communities are connected to people. Like, they, you know what I mean? You meet your peers uplift you. So I think that's been a huge support, is to just continuously stay in, different business groups and accelerator programs so I can keep myself refined and also learn about the cutting edge, business practices, and then, stay engaged with peers. I think that's been super supportive. I think if folks want to support OM&P, obviously, check out our website. I also have a free ebook for creating a self care plan that I'm going to put
Oh
in my
wow.
bio.
That's
That
so
if you
good.
really want to support, you would support yourself, and you
That's
would get that free ebook,
awesome.
and
I
you would
love
make
that.
yourself a self care plan, right?
That's
So,
smart. That's smart.
yeah, and stay connected with us.
I love that. Well, I appreciate you for everything, the support that you've given me, and vice versa. And like you said, the community around startups, women owned, black owned, BIPOC owned, like we really have to kind of just speak for each other and stand
Hmm.
up and remind, even in certain rooms, I'm like, oh, if you don't like this, you might like this company, or you might know this, or you might be interested in this. And
Right.
it's meeting in chemists and upcoming chemists, to make sure that
Mhm.
they follow your journey too, because they can learn so much. And even with your class, like learn so much. So I'm excited for you. I appreciate you for sharing your story. I think
Thank
I have,
you.
yes, girl, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I am going to share, I think, and this is on me, I think I did not click a certain button for Instagram. So they're going to be very upset. So I'm going to have the most clips of yours because I don't want anything to be missed. Your information was so great. So I'm going to you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm probably going to just post clip after clip after clip after clip.
Hey, I love
Audience
it.
can see it because I know, and I was looking and I was like, I'm not seeing the little circle, but
Yeah.
sometimes it connects slowly and you don't see the circle at first. So that's on me. I
Okay.
apologize. I'm gonna make sure the clips are there because I see it on LinkedIn, I know it's there, and I see it on YouTube and I know it's there. So I'm gonna make sure that we share this on Instagram and make sure people follow and get all your links. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, thank
Got-
you.
I got you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.